straight run up.
Now he angles it somewhat. Barkadash.
Where do I start? It's been up and down.
I remember being a kid.
I can see that happening.
That's something, always something to do. Be unlaced.
Unlaced podcast. It's actually not bad.
And we're live. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Unlaced podcast. Bit of a bloody weird setting today, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I feel uncomfortable or I'm excited about this, but I'm in a podcast booth at a burger joint, Royal Stacks AU, and I'm sitting across from Dane Swan. So it doesn't get much more unique than this.
Absolutely. I don't want to be claustrophobic.
No, it is tight. It is tight. But quickly, just a quick shout out to Royal Stacks for having us.
Yeah.
It's a new opening of their venue in Moorabbin. They've got 2 already that are booming. We're going to try some of their burgers up. You said you haven't had any before, have you?
No, I haven't. I'll go anywhere for a free feed. Mate.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Here I am. Yeah, stuck in a booth with you. So fuck it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
How you been anyway, man? Lockdown, everything. How's life?
Shit, can be a long-winded answer. I don't know how long do you want my answers to be.
Yeah.
How am I going? How have I been? I've been good. How am I going? Okay. Just ticking along. Lockdown sucked like everything, and especially most of my work or businesses is in front of people or in hospitality with the bar, tattoo shops and stuff like that. So, listen, it wasn't great, but listen, there was people going worse than me and people going better. So we're okay. We had a baby in that time. So
what the hell was that like? Lockdown and then bang, fatherhood.
Yeah, fucking weird. But yeah, wild. But he took up. It was probably the right time to have one, to be honest.
True.
Because I wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway because I had a baby. So I didn't have him. It would have been a miracle. My partner had him, but so that obviously was great. So he's 9 months old. So she was pregnant. 9 months before that? So 18 months ago.
Was that before the first lockdown? She would have got pregnant.
No, so 18 months ago. So figure that out. Was that June?
Yeah. So just as we went in the first one. Probably.
Yeah. It's just after 3 or 4 months. Yeah. So June, just after that. So that was probably come at the right time, to be honest, because I don't know what I would have done if we didn't have that to look forward to. So that's been good. It's been great. He's overseas with his mum now.
That's awesome.
Little bastard gets away before I do. I know. He's got 2 passports. He gets to travel the world before I do. Arsehole.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you've got we spoke off air, but you've got your own podcast, which I wanted to plug, Swanee and Friends, mate. How long has that been around for?
For a few years. They tried to cancel us the first time when we asked for the Cummings.
I recall that.
He left.
And it kept the podcast
by
alive.
Unpopular demand. But yeah, so then me and Ralph, I think the thing was with Scotty, he actually he was employed by people, where Ralph does his own racing thing, and I'm sort of, everything I do, I'm sort of own myself, or I'm a partner in it, so I couldn't be sacked from anywhere. And Ralph couldn't be sacked from anywhere, so Camo was the low-hanging fruit, so they went after him. So we were like...
Unsackable.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah, because that's probably the answer, because I don't have a boss, technically, so I could sort of do as I please, but they tried to come after us. We were like, me and Ralph decided, fuck it, we'll keep going, and yeah, so we're still going. We're going okay. Listen, you're not going to get any smarter by listening to our podcast. You might get a couple of laughs, but mind you, the last couple of weeks we interviewed Ed and Brendan Gale, so
that's big hitters.
Bit highbrow for us. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're trying to go. I don't know where Ralph's trying to go with that, but but it's been fun to talk to some smart people instead of us 3 idiots in a room.
I've tried to bring you back down to earth by bringing you into the burger booth here at Royal Stacks. So
I feel home. Yeah.
Now, one of the things I've always loved about you, and we're going to go into your AFL career and all you've achieved, but like for me, I love players when they're doing interviews and their charisma around the club when they're completely themselves. And you had like a very dry sense of humour. You didn't really move to, say, the corporate AFL culture. It was just the way you were. Was there any sort of... Did you just not really give a shit about that stuff, or was it just...
Yeah, well, one, I don't give a shit, but I think maybe subconsciously... So I love the NBA, and my favourite ever basketball is Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
So maybe I got a little bit of that, just sticking true to yourself from him. He was always himself. He didn't change his language. Like the NBA brought a dress code in because of the way he used to dress and stuff, like the gang tattoos and like the way he dressed and stuff like that. So maybe subconsciously it was a little bit of that, but just the long and short of it is I just never wanted to change myself for someone else. I was always going to be myself for good, bad, or indifferent, and sometimes it got me in trouble. Sometimes it's worked, maybe whether you think I've got a high profile or not, or whether you think you like the way I am today. It's got me here today, and I've gone okay after footy. So playing at the biggest club in the land helps. If I played at North Melbourne or St Kilda or something like that, would I have the profile I have today?
No disrespect.
Yeah, no disrespect, but it's just a fact. Playing in front of 90,
100%.
80,000 everyone instead of 30,000, being the biggest club, and when you fuck up, you're on the front page.
100%.
When when you play well, you're on the back page. So compared to some other smaller clubs where it might be 4 or 5 pages in. So, I've always just wanted to stay true to myself, and I've always been me. I talk the same, whether I'm talking to you or I was talking to the Queen. Yeah. I've always dressed the way I wanted to dress.
It's kind of worked in your favour though a little bit too.
Yeah,
people love that.
That's what some people would love it. Some people wouldn't, and that's the other thing. I don't go around worrying about the people that don't like me. Yeah, clearly I would like to be loved by everyone. Who wouldn't? But
of course.
Like I don't spend 1 second of my day thinking, oh well, can I change the people's opinion that don't like me or don't, what's the point? Because there's no one in the world that's, I don't know who the most loved person in the world is, but you'd even find people who don't like them. So
you can't win.
So I've always just tried to stay true to myself for good or for bad, and it's got me sitting in a podcast booth with you at a burger joint
I
today.
actually
So
feel
here we go.
honoured. When you said yes to this, I'm like, there's no way he's coming to the burger joint in a podcast booth. But
I thought it was a piss take at the start because
I love that.
Because so I think Harlan's uncle, my mate and business partner in the clothing label, he messaged me. He called me Dwayne. So I don't know whether he thought the W and the
He
Y.
said to me, Dwayne is on, like it's Dane, right?
So I don't know whether he thought the W and the Y was silent in my name or something like that. So I was called Dane. So I brushed it, and then he voiced me. I was like, "Hey Dwayne," I was like, "Fuck, this is a piss take, surely." So I screenshotted the thing to Harlan and go, "Mate, do you have an uncle named, is it Frank or something?" Pete. So like, do you have an uncle named Pete? Because I'm pretty sure someone's taking a piss here. And he rang me and goes, "No, it is." I said, "Well, rule 1 of trying to get a guest on a podcast, call him by the right name."
We've got to work on that with Pete. So Pete, and I hope you're listening, Pete, because Morgan Mitchell came into the studio 3-4 weeks ago, and he greeted her. I said, "Pete, can you go downstairs, bring Morgan up?" He greeted her as Jane. I said,
"Well, Jane's a bit different to Morgan than Dwayne is to Dane."
I'm like, first off, I'm like the least lookalike of a Jane I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he's done it again. We're gonna have to get him off that.
Yeah. So I was like, I was a pissed. I thought, is this? And then I was like, "How's is he actually your uncle, or is this some lunatic just messaging me with some random podcast?" We go, "Nah, it's real." I said, "Okay, well,
mate, no,
for you."
we appreciate you coming
That's
on,
right.
and back to the comment of Alan Iverson, that talking about practice interviews, probably the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
we're sitting here talking about practice,
and I wasn't a big practice.
I'm going to go into that because I do want to ask you about that. But before we get into your time in the AFL, like obviously when you look back on your career, you pretty much did everything you could do. Going into the AFL, what was sort of the expectation around you? Like, did people think you
very low?
Yeah, but what was that like?
Oh well, it was. Well, I don't know if it was like anything because I never expected to play AFL, and I don't know how long this podcast goes for, but the story goes for quite a while.
Mate, we got 45 minutes.
You can buy the book and read all about it.
Hey, there we go.
But
what's it called?
My Story. Very clever, isn't it?
Simple man.
I'm a very simple man. Mate, but I never wanted to play AFL, nor did I want to be drafted.
Really?
No, I had no interest, and I think maybe because nowadays all the gun juniors and all the stars were always told they're going to play AFL, and I was never good junior. The first best and fairest I ever won was in 2008 at Collingwood, so I was never one of the top elite juniors. So I was never told this is a path for you to go down AFL. So I played footy for what everyone else does, for the love of it, play with your mates. It's a great game, all the reasons why and all the kids play footy.
Yeah,
and I was no different. And then managed to get onto the Cannons list. The Calder Cannons in the TAC Cup as a 17-year-old, and I played the first few games, didn't really get a kick, and got dropped halfway through the year. I got drafted, so for having a poor attitude, which may surprise some, and not really getting a kick. So, I averaged in that season, in the regular season, about 12, 13 touches a game, maybe kicking a goal.
How old were you at this point?
17. So I got drafted as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And then, in the 3 finals, we ended up winning the flag. We were a very good side, obviously, the best side because we won it. I averaged over 30 and kicked 10 goals in the 3 finals.
Wow.
So fuck knows how I did that.
Big moments.
Well, I just say maybe I was just waiting for the MCG. These were back then. You played curtain raisers, so we played AFL Grand Final day, preliminary final day, and
before the games.
So that's which was great for a 17-year-old, playing in front. The crowd wasn't fully formed there, but running out in the MCG, it was awesome. So I like to tell myself I was just waiting for the big stage to showcase my skills. So, but so to get back to your question, there was no level of, I guess, excitement or anything that I was going to get drafted. Or I was on schoolies when I got drafted.
Was it? Did you turn some? Did you? I don't know if this is a story about you, but did you call them and say, "No, you're going to schoolies" or something? Something like
close enough. They called. I was already up there, and
okay.
And obviously, I don't know if you've been to schoolies. It's a very good time, and obviously, I was only going to school once. I was only finishing once. Even actually. To be fair, I still go to schoolies. I think I'm a toolie now, so it's been 20 years in a row. So
we love that.
It's fantastic. But yeah, so I was on schoolies, and they rang me and said congratulations on being drafted. And because I didn't think I'd be drafted, I wasn't missing out on schoolies. And you have to plan it along. Obviously, you have to plan schoolies a fair way out. So I started planning in about year 8. I think it was that was the only reason why I finished school. So I was on schoolies, and then they basically rang me on the Sunday night, drafted on the Sunday, and I was meant to be over there for a week, and they said, mate, congrats on being drafted, blah, blah, blah. We know you're up on the Gold Coast with your mates. We've booked your flight home tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Now,
how many days in was this?
No, this was the first day. Mate, let me tell you, I booked so I was meant to come next Saturday, and schoolies is a very good time, and for all the 17-year-olds that are listening to this, plan on going to schoolies, I can guarantee you, once all the girls find out you've been drafted, your stock fucking dramatically improved.
Oh, we love this.
So I was like, fuck that, I'm not coming home. So, but in the end, being the professional athlete I'd been, I was for 4 hours. They wanted me home the Saturday. No, I was meant to come home the Saturday. They wanted me home the Monday. Being the selfless, putting the team's needs ahead of myself, we decided to compromise, and I decided to come home the Friday afternoon.
Oh my God, that's one of the greatest stories ever. There's a lot more depth to what I was told about that. So
there's a lot more to it, but I think you got some more questions.
Now you're on a bit of a mentorship program for schoolies, which is the sound of it. They need some guidance up there for sure.
Your last Collingwood teammate your last Collingwood player on this podcast.
Yeah, it didn't go well. No. That's right. Do you know? I do know a lot about you, Swanee, but one of the things that surprised me, because you did. So first off, before I go into that, getting drafted at 17, was that more normal back then?
Can you not get drafted at 17?
Well, I just assumed it's 18. So were you 17 going 18? Were you in that?
No, I got drafted in November, and I turned 18 in the year after in February.
Oh, okay, so it was normal.
Yeah, I actually don't.
I think you were younger than most. That's why.
I was. I was the bottom age, so I had another year in the under 18. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know if 17-year-olds can get drafted now, but I was clearly too young.
Yeah,
and immature, and I was a dickhead when I probably still am, but I was very immature when I first started. Once again, I probably still am, but mate, I didn't deserve to be an AFL list. So I moved straight out of home. My first contract was $36,000. I spent every dollar I had as soon as I got it. Moved in with my best mate. Mate, we're going out Thursday night, Friday night, playing in the reserve Saturday, then going out Saturday night, Sunday night. Mate, I thought playing AFL was all about getting drink cards and doing your best on a Saturday night. So
CQ back in the day, probably.
CQ was. I was a bit older, a bit more mature when CQ.
Okay, right.
I got banned from their venues anyway. So yeah, I wasn't. I don't think I ever stepped foot in CQ, maybe once, but it was Spy Lounge in that back in the day. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah, no, I'm 30. Yeah, you probably wouldn't.
It was a bit before me, I reckon.
Yeah. Spy Lounge was the first drink cardy venue I went to. Was the same owners as like CQ, and they just nightclub hopped around. Right. Yeah. But I forgot the question.
No. So I was building in. So this you've kind of answered it though, because I said the initial year. So you went pick 58, 2001. But I didn't realise your first 4 years at Collingwood, you only played like 30 games.
Yeah, so I played 0, then 3, then 13, 16, then the rest. But mate, like I said, I was a shithead. I put in no effort on the track, put a lot of effort off it.
Yeah.
I put in a lot of effort off the field at night, but nothing during the day. And this is as cliche as every footballer gets told, but you all think you're going to play forever and make good money. And 36,000 was $1 million bucks to me.
Yeah.
You all think you're going to play forever, and I thought, fucking play an AFL. Not that I was playing AFL, but I'm an AFL list, mate. I'm a rock star, and I was at the very, very bottom of the totem poles of an AFL list, you know. So I was a shithead, and I was just cruising along, just doing nothing. And then I guess the turning point was when, you know, we got arrested and got into a blue. That was probably the turning point. No one wants to be in trouble with the law, and it's the only time.
Was this year 3, year 4?
Year 2.
Year 2 it was.
This is the only time I've ever been in trouble with the law, apart from getting done drink driving. But I don't know. That's a different kettle
Slightly
of fish.
more common,
Yeah. But yeah, so I got arrested, and then thought I was going to be sacked, and they told me I was going to be sacked, and me and my old man and manager went in, and all the heavy hitters of the footy club were around, and they sort of told me what they thought of me, and obviously wasn't a very nice person back then, because there wasn't too many positive affirmations coming back my way, and you know, in the end they Mick sort of said, listen, we're not going to ruin your career, I might fuck up now. Prove to me that you belong here, and I for God knows what reason they seen something in me that I could have been a decent player. I'd given no one any indication that I'd be good at anything, let alone football. And I was playing in the reserves. So
the thirds.
Yeah, so I wasn't even good enough to and I was starting on the bench. I wasn't even good enough to play in our reserves. I had to play under them at 10 a.m. at Williamstown. Fucking freezing. So
that is unbelievable.
So I had to play down there. So I was giving no one any indication that I was going to be good at anything, let alone football. And obviously they seen something in me, God knows what, but from then on, I always say I wasn't put on the right path. I was put on a righter path than what I was on.
Yeah.
And I still had my moments, obviously. Had right up to the day I retired, I had my moments. But so that was end of 02. And I didn't get going till I never really felt safe, you know, till probably 07, 08.
6 years in or so.
Yeah, so and they say, which rings true, it's harder to get fit than to stay fit when you're playing AFL. So they're trying to keep that base, and I hated working hard and hated training and hated it all, and you know, everything was too hard for me. But then, you know, I had a couple of good mates at the footy club, were still two of my best mates this day, that forced me to train with them and told me to pull my head in, and we still went out and enjoyed ourselves. Don't get me wrong, but
balance both.
But when it was time to train, they fucking told me that I had to train. No, I'd finished well behind them in the running, but they'd come back and drag me along and get physically abusive and physically, which you probably couldn't do that now, because
who were they? Was that like Dids and Ben Johnson?
Yeah, Ben Johnson and Chris Tarrant.
Okay.
Yeah, so how soft the world's gone these days. You probably couldn't grab a kid by the neck now and drag him along. They'd probably complain.
Jeez, they must have seen something in you that if they're doing that.
Yeah, well, I think.
Well, you're a good bloke.
I think Jono and Taz, we were obviously close, and you know the Rat Pack, it is what it is, but I think it showed that actually they cared for me as a person, not just so much, he's a bloke we can go out in the piss with and have a bender with. Like, they actually wanted me to succeed in life, not just, he's a bloke we can go out in the piss with. So they dragged me along. Tazza in the weight room forced me to do weights with him and hated them. And if you know Ben Johnson, he hated doing weights, so he didn't do much in the weight room. He preferred lunch. But he was an unbelievable...
great player.
He's an unbelievable trainer.
Was he really?
Yeah, he trained really hard, so he forced me to run along with him, and in the running drills I'd have to stand next to him, and you know, I'd lag behind, but they showed me the work ethic that was needed, and I was nowhere near that work ethic for years. I probably never got to that work ethic off on the track, but they showed me what I needed to do to be a professional footballer, because it's not easy. Yeah,
this is why I was interested, because the way you come across, particularly from the outside when you're playing footy, and like having been a professional athlete, I'm like, you can't achieve what you do just by without some sort of hard work. And I feel like you would maybe fly under the radar with how hard you actually work. Like, I recall an interview with Buck saying, it might have been when you were leaving or something, but he said you were famous for this run, 4 600s or something like that. So were you actually working harder than maybe what people perceived?
Yes and no. I think game day I just had an insatiable appetite to be the best player on the field. The game was football. I just wanted to touch the ball as much as I could, and I had enormous pride in my performance, and I hated losing. But for as much as you see me, I don't give a fuck, and I'm relaxed. But come game day, I hated playing badly. I remember days where when I was a kid, I had 5 kicked on me, and I was in the rooms crying after it because I had 5 kicked on me. I think Adam Muzak kicked 5 me in Melbourne. So I hated not playing well. But the thing about Melbourne is of training. Once I got, I guess, set in the side or good enough where I've had a little bit of influence at the footy club, Melbourne's obviously freezing.
Yeah.
So I hated, and because I didn't probably look after my body well on weekends and hated ice baths and stuff like that, so like I didn't look after my body the way a professional athlete should. So when we were training, man, I'd run around with like my hand with a beanie on my hands in my pockets, and if the ball came to me, I'd boot it off the floor because I couldn't warm up. So by the time I warmed up, we'd be finished. But and this is my mentality, I don't know, I always figured that I had decent enough touch, so I didn't need. And someone out there's probably somebody couldn't kick. Well, yeah, I probably couldn't kick, but
you had lots of them. Though.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said if I needed 40 to make an impact, so that's what I need to do.
Got lots of kicks.
Exactly. So the more I get, the more I can make an impact. So I was like, my touch and my my skill and stuff like that, I don't think I need to. You can always improve on it, but that wasn't what I thought I needed to get myself right for the week. And what I needed to do was to do like that repetitive running. So I'd like to stay in like the heat room, in the altitude room, in the warmth where my body was a lot more freer, and like just do sprints like 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s for like 20 minutes, half an hour, just minute on, minute off, 400 on, 100 off, whatever it was, just for 20, 30 minutes. So that's what I felt I needed to do to get myself right. So a lot of people, and you being an ex-athlete, you have in your head like little checklists you need to do to get yourself right for a weekend before you're right to play. And that was me. Yours. If I could, like I'd have to train on the main session sometimes, but like day before a game or whatever, I'd figure out, do a little bit of the warm, then come in and do the running. And for me, that was like, okay, that's the thing in my head. Well, all right, that's what I can take into game day. That's that kind of running, and that was the kind of runner I was. I wasn't like Steele or Pendles. I can't run at the same pace for. Yeah. My 2K was okay, but it wasn't elite.
Yeah.
But was the 300s and the interval running and the short, sharp stuff was where I succeeded, and that's I guess why the footy club sort of revolved our midfield game plan around me, our rotations. And that's why I was the highest rotated player in the league for like 3 years, because I'd come on and off so much because I could go hard for 4 or 5 minutes, have 2 minutes spell, then I could keep up that same pace. So that's what I thought I needed to do to keep myself fit. The training part and like sitting someone like just running through a kicking drill. Yeah, I thought to me that's useless. Yeah, like obviously once you're a young kid, you have to sort of impress. But once I got good enough to be able to have a influence and have some say, like me doing triangle kicking, I was like, what is the point of this?
It's going to do more detriment.
Exactly. What's doing quick hands off? Doing hands with someone on the side. It's for me, it did nothing. I'd rather go in, just do 20 minutes, half an hour, punish myself, and then that's it. Maybe do a bit of boxing, just that, keep off my feet, and then we'd go on to the next week. And I guess I thought I had one effort in me a week. That's probably probably different roles, but I was like, I just saved all my, like the day before, 2 days before, I wouldn't leave the house. Yeah. Go to training, I sit on the couch, just hydrate, eat, and I thought I had one effort in me a weekend, and that's I just bust my ass and give everything I possibly had on the Saturday and probably on the Saturday night, and probably maybe a little bit on this into the Sunday.
Follow-on effects,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But then my body would be fucked for 3 days because I wouldn't look after myself after a game. But I'd do some running, warm up, and then I think, all right, one effort in me a week. So game day would come out and give it all I had, and that's pretty much how I looked at life. I was very all or nothing.
I love that. One of the things you mentioned before was the term the Rat Pack. Like, how did that originate? Was that more the media than sort of you guys? Like,
it was the media. I think they were trying to like knock us down a couple of pegs or take the piss out of us, but
it put you up.
Yeah, mate. Like, it's a term of endearment. So what happened? I think obviously a few of us had a few indiscretions off the field, ranging from little things to big things, and I think it was Sharad Wellingham actually who
what was it? The driving.
Yeah, so he got done drink drive. He lost the
it was a big sponsorship.
He lost the $1 million tax sponsorship or something like that.
Right.
So he lost that for for reversing 5 meters or so. He tells us, but, just pulling the car into his driveway or something like that. But so he got done for that, and then obviously on the Monday or the Tuesday, front page of the Herald Sun, I'm pretty sure it was Collingwood's Rat Pack, and it had like photos of actual rats with all their heads superimposed on them, had Ben Johnson.
You're kidding.
Nah, so
who was in it? Was you, Ben Johnson, Didak?
Yeah, I think Sharrod, obviously, not that he's Sharrod. All the fuck ups who it happened.
There was a few in that.
Yeah, there was a few, mate. They needed a double page spread. But yeah, so that happened, and then I don't know how it stuck, but it has. And like we think of it as in terms of endearment. I think maybe a couple of reasons why it stuck is because we weren't just clogging up the list. Like a couple of us were at times, but the thing about the Rat Pack was, on game day, if it was halfway through the last quarter, it was usually one of the Rat Pack that would stand up and do something.
That's what I was going to say.
So,
in the pressure moments, that's what I was like.
Exactly. You got Heath Shaw who'd do something big off halfback. Ben Johnson would step someone and kick a big goal. Chris Tarrant obviously do what Chris does. Dids would kick a big goal. I'd do something in the midfield. So there was, I think that's why, half the reason why, because we actually, in Collingwood, blue collar, hard-working suburb, we were hard-working on the field, and we obviously worked pretty hard off it. And I think the other reason was we still didn't see ourselves better than anyone else. Yeah. And we were just normal kids, 25-year-olds to whatever, doing whatever other 25-year-olds were doing. We just happened to be on the MCG playing in front of 80,000. So we'd go out, man. Like I said, we never thought we were better than anyone else. If people want to have a beer, we'd have a beer, relax, have a good time, say hello. And I think that kind of endeared us to the Collingwood people. Yes, we were obviously pretty good players. We've got 7 or 8 All-Australians between us. I've got 5 of them.
I love that.
Yeah, share a Brownlow together. An MVP. Share many things, but I think ones that we probably put in game day. I think people could see that effort. It wasn't just like, he's just a fuckhead, just drinking piss and carrying on, and he doesn't actually perform on game day. We actually worked our ass off on game day, and the other thing was we are just normal kids from the suburbs doing exactly what every other kid from the suburb was doing. We just happened to be playing on the MCG on Saturday. So it's stuck. And like, if I go speak at footy clubs and that, like every 9 out of 10 clubs, a group of kids will come up and go, we're this club's Rat Pack. So, which is awesome. So
mate, it's a brand.
Exactly. I'm not sure if it's the legacy I want them to leave, but that's awesome. Like, it's fun. Like, we had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves, worked hard on and off the field. Yeah, we caused trouble. We never caused trouble. Yeah, but we got into trouble on our own. Yeah. In AFL's rules, which is different to the rules of society. Correct. So, but yeah, they're great. We're still really close mates. We catch up. We haven't obviously caught up much because of COVID. But I was with Tazza on the weekend. With Jono the weekend before. So yeah, we're still really close. And I'm very proud to be a part of the Rat Pack.
Yeah, mate. I'm an outsider right now. I feel like I'm in it. But did that ever help you, like your performance being put in that light, even like playing under Mick or whatever, to give you? Because I feel like if you didn't play as well, you would get a heightened sort of scrutiny because you were deemed in that sort of Rat Pack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes and no. And I think the thing with Mick was he knew what we needed to get ourselves up for a game. So if it was, everyone, not drinking on a 6-day break, so rules like that, or not drinking when injured. And for us, wasn't all about drinking. Like, sometimes we didn't want to do weights. Yeah. A bit sore, I can't be fucked on myself. I want to sit in the lunchroom and just eat and go home, and, just my body's a bit sore. So Mick had kind of, for the senior blokes who the senior sort of 10, 12, you turn a blind eye every now and go, mate, just go home. Or don't worry about weights today. Don't worry about trying to go home.
Really?
Yeah. Or
that's amazing.
Yeah, mate, if you have a drink, well, you're a dickhead, but don't worry about it. But as long as you performed.
So that brought your brownie points.
Yeah, but it was only as long as you performed. So like, if you had 1 or 2 bad ones in a row, I can guarantee you'd be doing weights and you'd be doing extra. Yeah. Or you'd be making sure you were in the ice bath, or you'd be making sure you were doing this, you were doing this. So he sort of empowered us and trusted us that we knew what we needed to get ourselves right. But like I said, if you didn't play well, you'd know about it and you'd make sure. And he wouldn't even have to tell you that you had to do it. You just go, well, I'll shit house on the weekend. I'm not going to sort of, piss in his face and just just take the piss again. I'm
Yeah.
going to actually fucking work. I'm going to do everything right this way and do extras until I get my form back, and then we'll go again. But playing at Collingwood and the I guess the bigger the profile I got, you're under the lights no matter what. You had a bad one, you're on the back page saying what's wrong with Swan. If you played well, you know that you're on the back page saying he's
the best.
World's best. So you know I think Buck said something which is very is real at Collingwood. When when you're on the back page, the best it's never as good as what they say it is, and it's never as bad as what they say it is. You know what I mean? So like, they could come out on the front page and you're the world's worst, but it's internally it's not as bad as that. Like everything gets magnified at Collingwood. Yeah, like everything. Like you do the slightest thing wrong, you're on the back page. Someone at a lesser club does the exact same thing wrong. Doesn't even get mentioned. So
it's true.
But that's like, I wouldn't have changed it for the world, because I loved playing in Collingwood. I loved playing in front of 80,000. I loved playing Anzac Day. I loved having the pressure of performing at a big club. I have no doubt if I didn't play Collingwood, I wouldn't be sitting here today with the things I've done, things I've been able to do, the people I've been able to meet, the networking I've done, how I've been able to use my image. Yeah. So being in Collingwood is a very double-edged sword, but if you use it right,
it can be amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. And you have to be able to navigate it and use it right. And yes, you got to learn from your mistakes. You can't keep fucking up, because eventually you will be the world's worst and you'll be gone. So you got to learn from your mistakes. And I think we all love people with a little bit of edge, not just a straight cookie cutter.
Correct.
Gives us, you watch the news, and I could give half the responses, and
it's boring though, eh?
Exactly. So I think we all love people who are not different, who are just themselves. Yeah. And whether you're a cookie cutter on your own and that's just you, or you're a bit different, because there's so many players that I play with that have got unbelievable personalities, so funny, so quirky, different. Like if they just were themselves to the cameras,
it'd fucking be awesome.
Exactly, their profile will go berserk, and they would, if they wanted to, they could make a career off it, or being in the media, or they could, have more fucking followers on Instagram if that's what they wanted. They could be so, different, but it's a fickle world, because media and that carry on about people giving the same answers. As soon as someone doesn't give the same answer, everyone jumps on them and says, "Oh my god, I can't believe he said that about Richmond. I can't believe he said this." Wait till they play each other. So it's madness, but it's the world we live in.
Do you reckon that stuff goes on now in sort of the new age of footy, in regards to like when you're saying like Mick, Swanee's had 38 on the weekend, he's not feeling the weights today, just let him have the day. Do you reckon that stuff happens now, or do you reckon it's kind of changed, it's a bit more old school?
I'd be very surprised, but I think it should. I think the older senior blokes, the younger blokes who are still forming, finding their path, should have to do everything. But like Scott Pendlebury doesn't want to have to do weights. Come on, exactly. Yeah. So if he's a bit sore on a Monday, he should be able to go home. We should be able to do this. Yeah. So, but then I would imagine they'd be saying while he's setting it, what kind of examples he's setting for the kids. So, but I think if you've got a strong enough culture at a football club and you've got strong enough personalities and leaders in there, like, if you've had the career Scott Pendlebury has, if the young kids are going, well, why is he going home? Well, the young kid's got no idea. Like, after you play 350 games and you win 7 best and fairest and you're 8-time All-Australian, well, then maybe you can have a fucking Monday off. Exactly. So
I think that makes the kids want to strive for that too. Like, there's a bit of a...
There's a carrot there. Yeah, exactly. So you get that good. Well, you have a little bit of leeway. Yeah. But it's the world is... Footy's different. The world is different. But social media is a huge part of it. It's wild. I feel sorry for the boys that are coming in, but then I don't feel sorry for them, because you look at their pay packets and you're like, okay, well, that's going all right. Yeah. But they earn every cent. They earn every cent they get.
They work hard.
They absolutely do.
So I don't know if you know, but I go for St Kilda.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I'm sorry about that. Well, I'm not sorry about that.
Mate,
I'd just be lying.
It wasn't your fault.
Well, it was partly my fault.
Oh, look at the red, white, and black. You did, and played well. But just on that, like 2010, we're talking about, obviously, probably like the most historic grand finals. Maybe not the second one for some, but
it was for me.
Yeah. But did you guys internally, because relatively pretty young side, which is kind of like had this edge about Collingwood itself. Like you guys, not that you didn't give a fuck, but you weren't listening to anyone else. And I feel like you guys... Some people feel they have to wait for a window. They have to get to a certain point in their career. You guys didn't seem to give a shit about that. Did you guys think internally you could be as good as you were that year or go all the way?
Yeah, not early on, but I think Geelong and St Kilda were the two best. They played in the granny the year before. Yeah.
09,
So think we might have got beat by one of them early in the year, but then we beat them both in the back half of the year.
Right.
And that's when we realised, okay,
Game on.
we're good enough to beat anyone. And then we flogged Geelong in the prelim. It's probably the best, quarter of football I've been involved in. So when the Collingwood chance started, I think we kicked, 8, 9, 10 goals in the first quarter. I doubt they scored, and that was in the prelim. It was one of the finals, and then that's when we knew. I think it was a prelim. And then we knew, righto, this is ours to lose, and we obviously nearly did. We nearly fucked it up.
What was that like, the draw? What was it? Did you just feel fucked after it? Like, did you?
Yeah. It was so weird. When I'd speak about it, I was like, I feel no different to the 100,000 that were there, or the millions whoever was watching. Like, it was just, I was like, what? It's just silence. So what the fuck's going on here? Like, half the boys were like, bring it in, like 5 minutes each way, and half the boys had obviously collapsed on the floor because they knew we were coming back the next week.
Nick Maxwell turned to Terminator on the bloody media interview. I was like, holy shit.
Listen, they've done the right thing. You should have to play 5 minutes each way.
Yeah.
And
in hindsight.
Yeah, well, while we played, so I was lucky we're biased. We obviously won the next week. If I had lost the next week, geez, I would have kicked up a stink sandwich.
Would that happen now, though? Do you reckon? Is that what they do?
Rules have changed. So 5 minutes each way. And I think more importantly for the fans, like, because grand final tickets aren't cheap, and not many people get them cost price. So everyone gets on sold, and so you're paying $500,000 a ticket. Who Collingwood, St Kilda, blue collar clubs who work, their people work hard all year, and they want to splash out and watch their team play. They have to stump up again to another $500,000, whatever. It's a lot of money. So either you come back next week and everyone who was there gets their same seat back, because mate, we made 30, 40K off it for coming back the next week. So it was fine with us, but mate, it was very, very unfair on the fans who are the game, and they put their hard earned in, who deserve to get a free ticket. But they did the right thing. Now it's 5 minutes each way. More exciting for the fans. And coming back next week was a pain in the ass, but to win a flag, like, obviously I've only got one, so it's a story to tell. Yeah.
What was like? Obviously, winning the flag was a huge moment. I feel like probably a lot of people were playing the grand final that week because they were probably still exhausted from the draw. But you guys just came out and destroyed St Kilda in a sense. What was the aftermath like for that? Like
after the winning one?
Yeah, just the winning one. Like, were you guys just exhausted? Were you partying for a month? Like, what was?
Still, that's why we never won another one. just finished last Thursday. But the other thing with that is, like, I'll tell you probably the best moment of winning the flag, but whether you finish on the bottom and don't win a game all year, or you win the premiership, the celebrations or commiserations are pretty much the same. You're just a lot happier when you win the flag. Like,
understood.
There's only so much you can drink.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? So, like, you still, because you're in a better mood, not like you can fucking drink a lot more or party any harder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Mad Monday still goes on. Silly Sunday still happens. So it's not so much did we party hard. Well, yeah, if we didn't win a game all year, we still fucking had a big crack as soon as the season ended. Absolutely. So it's not so much about, we partied for a month, because you kind of always did that. It was more just little moments after the game, when we went back out, when the MCG was just the cleaners were cleaning up, just seagulls. Just us, the 22, went out in the middle of the ground, linked arms, and just went around one by one what a word or sentence that meant something to us. And we sang the song, in the middle of the ground, MCG, just deadly quiet, just us singing the song about 2-3 hours after the game. That was probably the most memorable part for winning the flag, because once you get in the rooms, you win it. There's a million people in there. People going apeshit, grabbing a beer, you're carrying on, and then obviously everyone pisses off, and you go, and then we just us for 45 minutes, and then obviously the chaos starts with the parties and silly Mad Mondays and all that kind of thing. So to answer your question, we obviously had a fair crack, but it's kind of no different. It's just you're just a lot happier. You got a medal around your neck.
Yeah.
But why I think winning a flag is so special, because I don't wake up every morning going, I'm a premiership player. Like, would it have changed my life if we had a loss? Probably not. Maybe every time I fuck up and I'm in the paper or something, it says premiership player next to it. So that's probably all. Or people ask me about it. So but I don't wake up every morning and think, geez, how lucky am I to win a premiership? Like, I, in fact, never really talk about it unless I'm getting asked. Like, it's just, I was 11 years ago,
It's crazy.
so it's not something I think about. But the why I know winning a premiership is super important is the catch up you have every year. Like you've got that bond, so we'll be tied together forever. So we catch up. Obviously, haven't been able to the last couple of years, and we've missed our 10-year reunion. So hopefully we'll have a 11-year reunion. But you catch up once a year. The same, the 22, 23 go, the staff and the coach, trainers, same people getting together, and we have a long lunch. The game goes on. The same people get shit hang on them. Like same jokes get told. Like same people sit together. Yeah. And it's like we're 25 again.
That's mad.
And like
that's awesome.
You leave that lunch a couple of days later, and you realise how important it is to win a flag, because it's those moments where you get in there runaway and go, fuck,
that was awesome.
We got one done, because we're going to be bonded
forever
together. So that's the moment when you realise how important winning a premiership is, because we won the flag, right? I went to Ireland, played in the Australian series, come back. So we didn't really have a lot of, because we had the draw, we didn't get a lot of time to really celebrate together. We all pissed off overseas. I'll get back day one of pre-season, we'll win the flag. I'm thinking there's going to be a barbecue and beers set up. You know what I mean? We've just won the flag. Day one of pre-season, you walk in, haven't done a thing, you're like, fuck, where are the beers and barbecue? Mate, we've won the flag. We've won the flag. And they sit you down and go, righto, everyone's coming for you. Fucking, use the best. Everyone's coming. We've got to train harder. We've got to train longer. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? I train harder and longer. Someone else was going to throw a party for us. So we used to do 2K time trials. So right, instead of doing a 2K time trial, we're doing a 3K time trial. Nearly fell off my seat. Because all what I used to do, I'd just make sure I could run a 2K without stopping. In the off season, I'd get on a train and run 2K.
So you get through it.
So I knew I could do the 2K without stopping.
That extra K.
3K, I said, no, I'm not doing this. I pulled it out with an injury. I said, there's no fucking way I'm running 3K. So, I got out of it. But so my point is just when you're actually playing in the league, you don't have time. Just like Melbourne now, they'll be back in pre-season. They won't be having part. Well, if they are, they're very lucky. But they won't be hanging the hats on last year. They won't be kicking back in the spa going, fuck, how good are we? We're coaches and that are bred and inborn just to go, righto, we've got to train harder. They're coming for you. Everyone's coming for us. We've got to make sure we're harder and fitter and stronger than last year. We've got to be better. Everyone's got to improve that little bit. So winning a flag while you're playing, it's good initially, but it just goes away. Yeah. It's just after you retire when you understand how important winning a flag is.
That's amazing, man. The bond will last forever, no doubt. One thing for me, if I had to guess, I'm going to say individual accolades, probably not important to you, but you won so many. So were they ever actually important to you? Did you ever strive for them? Brownlow 5 All Australians, fuck.
Important because you got bonuses at the end of the year.
There we go. That's your carrot.
So, exactly. Everyone can, everyone bullshits to say they're good, but most people have bonuses, so that's why they're great. But not really. Brownlow, same as the premiership bit. I think winning a Brownlow gives you some kind of status, I guess, in the AFL circle where you might be able to do a function or... Did
you win it the year after the Granny, was it?
Yeah, should have won it in the year, but,
who's
bitter about that? Yeah. But no, I don't, once again, I don't wake up thinking I'm Brownlow Mellis. Just one of those things.
I would.
Yeah, you can have it if you want. But, the individual accolades are nice, and maybe when my son's a bit older, I'll show him all and show him how good I was, but no, they're nice to have along the way, and you're nice to be recognised by your peers or by the media or by whoever judges All Australians and the umpires and stuff like that. But maybe they're just individual awards. If I wanted individual awards, I would have played tennis or would have played an individual golf, sport. So I played team sport. I love football to share success with my teammates, and we have a catch up every year for winning the premiership. We do not have a catch up every year for me winning the Brownlow.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I've sent out invites, but no one. No one's turned up yet.
Come,
so
mate.
it's a lonely lunch.
That's awesome. For you, given we spoke before, you're doing quite a lot of shit. I wouldn't say you got a day job, but you've got so many things going on. When you came out of footy into retirement, for you, was that a bit of relief, or were you at a point where you were like, "Fuck, I don't know what to do now"? I've been so used to playing that for so long.
Well, I played 15 years, 16 years, whatever it is. So I think once I hurt my foot, so...
That's right.
I think once you get to 32, you've played... If you don't have some kind of idea of what you're doing, you're either a moron or you've got a very rich family,
Yeah.
or you've made a lot. So
Yeah.
so I was ready. Like I got offered a contract, so Buck sat me down and offered me a contract, and
Because you forced out with your foot, weren't you?
yeah, so I had a foot, and we weren't going great. If I knew we were going to make finals or have a crack at a flag, I probably would have hung on.
Yeah.
But I didn't think my foot
Would survive.
Yeah, and I didn't want to be a player who was running around and the fans going, "Fuck, he should have given it up last year."
Yeah.
You know, they say, "Die a hero or live long enough to become the villain." You know, I was kind of like wanted to go out and say Swanee still should be there instead of like playing doing a whole season, a whole preseason, and getting to the 6 games in and go, my foot just can't handle it. Or so I just Buck sat me down and said, "Listen, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to come back early. You know, no preseason, no off season. You have to come back early. You know, you're gonna have to work harder than you've ever worked, more diligent in your rehab. It'll be the toughest year." And I said, "Well, I don't have it in me. I can't do it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better they say, "Why did you?" than "Why don't you?"
Exactly.
You know?
So, so that was pretty much it. But I was ready. I was ready for the next phase of my life.
Yeah.
32. I always wanted to travel, and I'm probably lucky I did when I did because a few years later and we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I had a kick with Dale Thomas this morning, and he retired and he hasn't been able to travel the world. You know what I mean? That's what he planned on going away for 6 months. So we travelled for 18 months out of probably 2 years when we finished. I did
That's
Celebrity
amazing.
Jungle. Did bucket list scenes, Coachella, the World Cup in Russia, the European summer, NBA, NFL. Ticked off some amazing things which I wouldn't have been able to do if I was still playing. Looking back, making that kind of money is very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
funny
I was jumped at the chance to get out of footy. I love playing footy. I'll be doing it for free if it wasn't good enough to be able to play it as a professional.
Yeah.
Looking back, could I have held on 2 or 3 years? That's a lot of money. It's hard to make these days.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm just doing it for the money, do I enjoy it as much? Who knows? But it's just a lot of those what ifs. But I don't live with regrets. So I'm very happy the decisions I made. Got some unbelievable memories from the 5 years I've been finished, and it's brought me here today, mate.
Beautiful. Now, before we go into just the final segment, which is just a bit of a fanfare question, I do want to just give a plug to the bowler kit. Like, how can we get a bit of background on this? Because I know Harlan's obviously been around with it for a long time, but you've recently come in as like a partner or something.
So I came in a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
My dates are so confused with COVID, man.
Yeah,
Like,
all over the place.
yeah, I know it's been the quickest 2 years of my life, or longest with this baby as well, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so I've always had an interest in fashion and stuff like that. And Harl's obviously had Bella Apparel for balaclava. That's what it's where it originated. That's where he's from, the suburb.
Yep.
Some people say Baller. It's Bella, but fucking who cares? Say what,
Same
call it
shit. Just
what
buy
you
it.
want.
Just buy it, guys.
Exactly. But yeah, so he and me and him were doing weights during COVID. Legally, of course. Of course.
Yep. Garage weights.
Yeah, and we're just talking, and I was giving some input and stuff like that about where I thought the brand should head and what he should do. And he said, "Do you want to come in? Do you want to come on?" So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm doing nothing else." So that probably I enjoy it. It's a creative outlet which I don't have a lot of.
It's great gear, man.
Yeah, so-
honestly is.
So it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a nice creative outlet for me to get out and try and use another part of my brain, which it doesn't get used a lot. So it's good. BellaApparel.com.
Beautiful. We'll put that in the description for
Thanks, mate.
for everyone. Yeah, make sure you get some bowler kit. Harlan dropped off a tee, mate. They are good. There's hoodies, there's
I
track
never know
pants.
that. Thanks, Harl.
Yeah, I know. There we go.
Oh, he's a hard man to get hold of.
Yeah, he is. Unless you call someone Dwayne, maybe he'll pick up the phone.
Exactly.
But all right, we're going to go into the Lace Them Up Quickfire 5. Now, this is a bit of a fanfare segment. 5 questions, instinctive answers.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward. I think you'll get it. All right. Player that you love playing with the most?
Well, I can't split Ben and Chris.
Ben and Chris Tarrant. Beautiful. Hardest opponent to play against? I've always wanted to know that from you.
The hardest? Well, that depends. So I played on guys like Ablett and Judd, but I'd say I'd say Ablett's probably the greatest midfielder that's ever played. You could say Judd's top 3. But when you played on those guys,
Both getting the footy.
yeah, it wasn't hard per se. It was like you'd start on a stoppage, and obviously unbelievable stars. But once the ball spread, they weren't following you.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
I wasn't following them. So
Yeah.
like we'd have, we'd have both have 30 each. So that wasn't hard. But if we got our ass kicked, it was hard in the review on the Monday because they'd be like, "Why are you 50 metres away from Chris Judd? He's a pretty good player." Well, I fucking thought the ball was going over there, so I was trying to get it. But probably the player who probably had the biggest effect on me was probably Cameron Ling.
Really?
He got me in the granny in 2011. He was probably my toughest opponents when Geelong were at their best. He was at their best, and I was at my best. He was their captain, so probably him.
Hey, good answer. This was an interesting one. Chirpiest or best on-field banter? It could be a player you played with or played against. Who was good on the lip?
Did Alan Didak.
Really?
Yeah, he was very good.
You got any that you can remember that you can say? Are they all a bit out of the stratosphere?
No, I've got a couple of good ones, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
They should need to be recorded forever. But Didge was very good from Collingwood. Heath was also.
Yeah, he looks like
he didn't shut up. He's ADD and stuff like that. He'd go mad on the field. I wouldn't even know what he was saying half the time. But yeah, Dids and Heath were 1-2. They were hilarious during the footy club. Mate, they'd make you cry so much. They were brilliant.
Best part about being an AFL footballer?
There's quite a lot. For all the whinging and moaning that I did, like I'm under no illusion that playing AFL was the best job I'll ever have. Like you're fit, healthy, you make good money. You have 12 weeks a year to travel the world. If you want it, you can use your profile for all kinds of things, drink cards.
That's what we got to do.
Exactly. But the best thing for me, apart from being able to set myself up for, not for life, I obviously have to work, but like give myself my family unbelievable head start in life with the money. Just the thrill of playing in front of 80,000.
That's ridiculous. You can't compare.
Yeah, exactly. You can have high-paying jobs. You can go to the gym. You can be fit. You can do all the things, but you cannot run out on Anzac Day in front of 100,000 people and play. Well, you literally can't buy that experience. Yeah, like you can't pay to go out and play an AFL game. So the thrill of running out in front of 80,000 fans, that's the best thing about playing
This
AFL.
might follow on from that answer, but this is a bit one for the Pies fans. But I was going to say favourite aspect about playing for Collingwood. I mean, their fan base is obviously insane.
Being the biggest and best club, definitely. Yeah. It comes, like I said before, it's a double-edged sword, and it comes with some risks. But like if you treat Collingwood well and their fans, like they'll love you back. Yeah. Just as much. And listen, I thought I did that. I thought I always gave time to them. I still do. The love, and I'm sure they fucking pounded me when I was kicking the ball out the full.
Yeah, they would be.
Exactly.
They'd be the first
and when I was turning it over, but
both ways.
But I love that about. I think that's people pay their good money, and footy is such a stress reliever for people who actually work hard during the week and don't have much, and they work paycheck to paycheck. They want to go to the footy, and it's their outlet. If they want to boo me or they want to call me a fuckwit or they want to yell at me but go your hardest. It's you pay the membership. I have no problems with it. But I'm sure they bag me. But the fans were awesome to me. They always were, and I'm sure some hate me.
Yeah.
But
can't please them all.
But exactly. But 90% of them have always been unbelievable to me, and I have no doubt I would not be here without their love and support. So so definitely them and Ed, and just the grandness of Collingwood is something that's
crazy.
It's something that's very, very hard to tell people about unless you can walk in there and understand how big it is.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Now, apparently you got a bit of an amazing palate. You did some food reviews in lockdown that went famous on your Instagram.
That's how bored I was.
we're gonna bite into some burgers here at Royal Stacks.
I haven't eaten today. So
we've got some coming. So we're gonna give them a rating out of 10. Couple burgers, couple sides.
Well, I'm going to have to be biased, aren't they?
That's what I thought as well.
Exactly.
I thought, fuck, mate, they're giving us free food. We're in the podcast booth. Everything's got to be 7+.
Oh, exactly. So exactly, especially if the owner's there, it's going to be hard not to give a 10. So I might have to give a sneaky one on the way out. Or a nice one. But I'm sure they actually look pretty good.
It fucking does. This place is packed. Mate, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, mate. Awesome.
Too easy.
Beauty.